Hello and welcome to Frag Radio, episode 3. Frag Radio is the video podcast that talks about veterans doing big things or veterans and civilians who are just doing good things for the community itself. Make sure you go ahead, tune in, smash that share button. Today's guest is going to be Bryce Mahoney. Bryce is the director of the Darby Project. Welcome, Bryce. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Hey, Bryce, why don't you go ahead and start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Bryce Mahoney, originally from Virginia Beach, joined the military back in 2001, served till 2007, served the 3rd Ranger Battalion, United Nations Command Security Battalion in Korea, and Echo 51st Long Range Surveillance in Germany. Got out of the military in 2007 and did the typical veteran bounce back and forth between jobs, and ended up volunteering with the Darby Project a year or so ago and was asked to take over as the director of the Darby Project. And here I am.
Oh, that's awesome. So Darby Project, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what that is, and maybe tell us a little bit about the mother company, the Gallant Few, and like what both companies do.
Okay, so the Darby Project is a division of Gallant Few, which our mission is to facilitate a successful transition from active duty to civilian life filled with hope and purpose. And how we do that is by connecting and educating active duty members and veterans with each other that live in the same community, and create peer-to-peer mentorship, hopefully same MOS, same branch of service. That way guys and gals that are getting out of the military can get some firsthand experience about the struggles and challenges that they might face as they transition out. And then also as veterans navigate their life, they might come up on some struggles and need assistance, and we're also here for that, to provide resources and mentorship as well for those scenarios.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people struggle with transitioning out, whether they were in for 4 years, a couple years, or they were in their entire career. Different people have different struggles that they go through. With your experience though with the Darby Project, what do you feel like what do you see a lot of veterans, like common problems that they have transitioning over?
I'd say the number one problem we have as veterans is that we don't take our transition very seriously, whether it be programs that aren't tailored perfectly to what we need, or lack of timing to transition effectively. There's just most people don't take it very seriously, myself included. I got out of the military without a plan, and it showed very quickly that lack of plan set me up for failure for myself going forward. Through those struggles, from things that we've seen overseas or done in the military, we tend to disconnect ourselves from society or other people that might not have gone through the same experiences as us and don't understand what veterans have done or where they've been and what they've seen and their outlooks on life. So when we disconnect, we isolate ourselves, and most of the time that turns into self-medication. And I think those are the biggest problems that we face, not taking it seriously and disconnecting from the communities that we either move to or stay in.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like when I got out, like the military, like you go through TAPS, and it's like a week long. They talk about different things while you're getting out, and VA, talk about a resume, stuff like that. But it really doesn't teach you much. It does not prepare you enough for when you get out. I know, like when I got out, my resume was 5 pages long. I did 13 years in the military, but employers don't want to see, a 5-page resume. They want a 1-page resume, and it's stuff like that they really don't tell you, as well as like writing a resume, taking your military skills and transferring them over to like civilian terms so that everybody understands.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the resume, great topic on the resume. We as veterans, we harness so many leadership characteristics that companies are dying for in the civilian world, and it comes down to wording a lot of the times. And there are a lot of great resources out there that are focused on creating better resumes for veterans. One we've partnered with, which is in the kind of beta form right now, is called Your Six. You're the number six.
Right.
They've started to create a program that you input all of your military history, schools, your identifiers, your medals, everything, and it's translating what you've done in your military experience into civilian language, which is a good thing. I mean, people should definitely have a resume tailored to the fields that they want to do, but that really starts with figuring out, what do you want to do? Because if you don't know what you want to do, then you can't really tailor a resume to it, and you can't begin to network in that field of other professionals, which I think is more important than the resume, which we all know that networking outweighs resume 9 out of 10 times. And it's through that continuous connection that the networking can start to happen better and more for guys getting out of the military.
Oh yeah, networking is huge. There's a lot of different organizations that hold networking events for veterans. I know one here in Philadelphia, Bunker Labs, Philadelphia. They do brew nights every so often, once a month or something like that, and it's great because it's all veterans. They have guest speakers who are doing really well for themselves, or veterans who are doing really well for themselves, and we can go. They have pizza, beer for us. It's very casual. Kind of like what we're used to in the military, and it's great to network. It really is.
Yeah,
great point.
I think those veteran groups and veteran specific networking events are very beneficial, but there needs to be a breakout of that kind of inner circle that we veterans tend to stick to. Veterans talk to veterans for the most part, but there are so many relationships that we can make with non-veterans that have similar minds like us, that if we just take the opportunity to break out of that normal community, we can network better. One example for me is I'm a part of a men-only fitness group that started in Charlotte, North Carolina, and now it's going all over the U.S., and it's called F3, Foxtrot 3, and it's a men-only workout group in the morning. And although it is fitness-based, the idea is the connection and the fellowship of men connecting with each other. And I have met more non-veterans that outside of this fitness group, we probably would have never said 2 words to each other, but that initial kind of respect the workouts are at 5:45 in the morning. So you kind of have to, these guys are motivated to get up that early. And I like to work out in the morning. It's kind of something that I continued out after the military. I got up really early before the military as a surfer, so it wasn't anything new for me to get up, but it has created more opportunities for me in my life, branching out and making relationships with these guys that I would have never gotten these opportunities if I hadn't taken that chance. So I would tell any veteran, have your veteran groups. They're going to be the center of your support network, but you got to take the chance to get outside of that veteran space.
That's great advice. So you said you did like the CrossFit, the working out kind of stuff. I know it's like CrossFit is very big right now. A lot of people get into that. Definitely a great avenue. Our guest yesterday, who we actually had technical difficulties with, he'll be on, and he owns like an Adventures Outdoor. So he brings people in the Chicago area, from the city out into the outdoors, and it's another thing that people can connect with. You really got to, like you said, find out what you love, and really go with it. Definitely branch out. Great idea.
Sure. I mean, it comes down to you decide your own level of involvement. Nobody's going to come and knock on your door and say, hey, come on out. I mean, they are, but you ultimately have to take that step of getting out there and figuring out what works for you, finding these like-minded people that live in your community. You know, Facebook and social media have done great things for us to get connected and stay connected to veterans or brothers that we haven't talked to in a while, or that live in other cities and states, but it takes focus away from right where we live. If more veterans would focus in their towns to find the veteran groups or meetups or whatever right where they live, I think that they would find that there are more resources and more connections that they can make right where they live, instead of focusing outward, you know, to different states or different countries where other people might live. And branching out of the norm, you know, like you said, CrossFit is big. It's huge right now, but it's also a scary thing, you know, and it's something that, you know, dads and parents and full-time business people, they might not have time to invest in a CrossFit gym or the time it takes to go to a CrossFit workout. That's why, you know, Team RWB, they have local chapters all over the country that are focused on fitness and community engagement, which is a big thing. Like I said, the F3 is men only, does workouts in the morning. They're at parks or elementary schools or things like that. Like it doesn't have to be a CrossFit gym. It doesn't have to be a Gold's Gym or something like that. We can figure out and find things that tailor to what we want to do. You know, thinking about the outdoor space of find people that want to go hiking or want to go mountain biking, things like that. But ultimately, you're never going to find those people if you don't branch out, if you don't look for those people.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Yeah, it doesn't have to be CrossFit. Just find anything that interests you, that, you know, you can build a bond with people over, you know, whether you're into business or, you know, anything like that. So as far as the Darby Project goes, how do people get involved if they want to help out with the Darby Project?
This has been something that I've, you know, since I took over, I've been going back and forth of what is the best way to get people involved. And at first it was, we're going to create Darby communities all over the country, and we're going to hold events and all this kind of stuff. And I realized, like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It goes back to that same, what we just talked about. There are so many veteran service organizations. There are community organizations out there already in place with infrastructure far beyond what we could create now from the starting point. You know, get engaged with the Rotary Club, get engaged with Team RWB, other things like that. That's kind of been the focus now, is encouraging Rangers to think about that when they're transitioning out of the military. You know, what purpose can you provide yourself outside of career and family and education? And a big part of that is connecting with your community, and you can do that so many different ways. So I've really started to encourage Rangers to actively seek out other Rangers in their community and find some of those groups that are already established, and be a presence in them, be a leader in them, set the example in those groups, because that's what's going to make the difference. It's not going to be us waving a Darby Project flag down Main Street saying, look at us, here's the community. It's going to be, hey, that guy he came here and he started doing a lot. You know, we didn't ask him to. He started volunteering, or he started stepping up to do above and beyond what was asked of everybody else. What's his deal? Oh, I mean, he's a Ranger. That's what they do. And it goes back to that silent professionalism that we are taught in the military, that we lead the way. So I've started to encourage guys to just start seeking, look internally, look around your community at the groups that are already established, and set yourself apart from the people within those organizations.
That's great advice. Great advice. All right. So as far as, you know, the Darby Project being a nonprofit falling under the Gallant Few, you nothing's free in life. So it takes money to run it. You guys do seminars, correct?
We do, yeah. That's something that has kind of just started taking off recently, and it's kind of a collaborative effort through Gallant Few. We're looking at holding kind of two types of seminars. One for the veteran and their families that have already transitioned, and we're pointing those as kind of like a personal development seminar. Those are going to be focused more at people that have already transitioned out of the military. Providing them with resources that can help them get through obstacles that they found in their life post-military. And maybe they're looking at changing careers and things like that. So we wanted to focus efforts on helping people develop personally. And then a part for our active duty components is creating transition seminars focused specifically at groups. And this will start to happen, Gallant Few wide, and the Darby Project will focus its efforts on 75th Ranger Regiment and the units that, infantry units that have guys with Ranger tabs or guys that have left the Ranger Regiment. So those transition seminars will be focused more on people getting out of the military. There will be, I won't say they will be intensive, but they will have exact purpose behind them. People will come with a resume ready to have it edited or reviewed to make sure that it's correct. There'll be people at the seminars that are going to help out in specific areas of the transition, and people will leave those transition seminars with a much better stronghold on their transition than they came in.
Oh, very cool. And you guys also go to all the Ranger events throughout the year, correct?
Yeah, a big part of the Darby Project is kind of showing what the community has to offer. We're not the only Ranger-specific veteran service organization out there. There are so many organizations: United States Army Ranger Association, 75th Ranger Regiment Association, the WAR, which is the older generation of Rangers. Those are community organizations that people can get involved with, but we like to share everyone's calendar of events that's going on. That way people understand and people can see what the overall calendar looks like. It might not be one of our events, but it's part of the community, and we want to show that support to the rest of the community out there that, hey, it's not just about us, it's about serving the community, and if they've got an event going on, you should go to it, you should support it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are all over the place. So when you guys do fundraisers, what fundraiser events should we look for in the future?
So we typically, for now, we focus most of our fundraising efforts to Run Ranger Run, which is in February each year. If you're not familiar with Run Ranger Run, it's an event where teams of 10 collectively run, walk, swim, paddle, skip 565 miles over the month of February to raise funds for Gallant Few. That's been our primary focus, and the idea behind just creating one major event like that is we don't want to continually reach our hand out to the community for support throughout the year. We feel that with enough support and enough drive, we can facilitate all of our needs within that one event. We've recently started to develop working with the Mogadishu Mile, which is in October. So you can look for that as another event that will support us and a couple of other organizations out there. I'm pretty excited to be a part of that one. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple, and the more support towards Run Ranger Run that we can get, the better.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually participated last year in the Run Ranger Run. We put together almost 2 full teams. One had a little over, one had a little under, and it was a great time. I posted it up on Facebook. Anybody that wants to join us, and it was a great time. I plan on doing it again this year. So anybody watching, if you want to join Team Frag Out, just look for it, and you can sign up. I'll hook you up with an extra T-shirt on top of what you get from participating in Run Ranger Run. And my only problem with it was actually recording my miles. just remembering to go do it. I'd go do them, and like, oh, I forgot about it.
Yeah, and that's been, a platform struggle for us of, using the click and pledge and the other types of resources that we use to kind of track the donations and the mileage and all that stuff. It's had to be kind of 3 different solutions for that. And we're talking with an organization now to kind of encompass that into one and create a better mobile app, because we know that everybody loves to do stuff mobily. And so it's amazing to me, not only the supporters that do Run Ranger Run and support Gallant Few and all of our divisions that we have, but the people that step forward to be a part of the Run Ranger Run steering committee. Just the level of support that we have there is huge. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do Run Ranger Run. It wouldn't be anywhere near what it is today without the people that dedicate their time, which we all know time is our most valuable asset. These people donate their time and skills to help make Run Ranger Run better every single year. This year was my first year of doing Run Ranger Run, so I was really in an observatory role. But now that it's over, like we're gonna crush our goals from last year, and I'm just really excited to get more support from the community to do it. And I think this year we're going to create some little internal competition inside of it, so that'll hopefully incite some more participation for different teams.
Absolutely, and like you said, it's the month of February. I know everybody out there watching right now, you're not doing anything in February. You're not spending money because you did it all in December. So, it's cold. You're not doing a whole lot. Get out there, help Run Ranger Run, or help make Run Ranger Run successful. For the Mogadishu Mile, you said that's in October, correct?
Yes.
So there's that as well, right before the holiday season starts. So get out there, help with that as well. I'll post the links to everything in the comments once this ends. You guys can all see that, and definitely help out. Great organization, great people. I've talked to several people that work with both the Darby Project and Gallant Few, and definitely my choice of nonprofits to work with. Definitely enjoy it.
Correction. So Mogadishu Mile is September 30th. So okay. Right on the cusp of October. So it'll be September 30th. And they do an in-person run, and then there's also a virtual run as well. So you don't have to be located in Fort Benning to make that happen.
Right, and Run Ranger Run is virtual as well, which was awesome because I posted up with people they were all over the world. People that were deployed signed up. That were in Afghanistan, and they can record their miles. We set up a email group so we could talk to each other, communicate. And I met new people, new friends. Definitely plan on staying in contact with them as well. So it's an awesome little event.
I think something to think about too with Run Ranger Run is the title kind of is misleading because you don't have to just run. I mean, people ride bikes. They do all different types of stuff. And thinking of guys deployed, if they have an Airdyne, you can log miles on an Airdyne bike. Which would really suck. But hey, it's an outlet to do it. You can row your miles. You just cumulatively track those. Walk, obviously, run, bike. There's endless opportunities to be able to log those miles and support Run Ranger Run. Absolutely.
So it's whatever it takes just to record miles, without driving, obviously, or flying.
Yeah.
But any other way, activity to get there.
You don't get a motor.
What's that?
I said you don't get a motor. No motors.
No motors. Motor free. But no, it really is a great event, and I'll tell you from personal experience, the transition from the military is key to success. You have to have a good transition, or you're going to struggle. So like you said, just find what makes you happy. Find groups of people. It doesn't have to be other veterans. It could be people who've never served. that you just have common interests with, and get with them and build that network. It'll really help you out in the long run.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I would say this too for veterans. If you have friends, that are thinking of getting out, I think the number one question that should be asked but isn't is you need to ask your buddies, why are you getting out? That's the biggest question. People are leaving after 4 and 5 years out of the military, and nobody asks that. Why? Why are you leaving the military? And yeah, there's a myriad of answers to that question, but that's kind of the point behind the peer-to-peer mentoring. If a guy comes to me and says, I'm getting out because I want to go contract overseas. Okay, well, why do you want to go contracting? Well, it makes more money. Well, let's dissect that for a second. Think about how much money you're making in the military already with your benefits, with your BAH, and with all of the other extra finances that you get from being in the military. People tend to not calculate their health insurance, their BAH, and other things like that into that thought process. And if you face it, the days of Blackwater and $1,000 a day are over. Contracting has changed significantly. I know I worked for Triple Canopy back in 2011, and yeah, it was fun, but it was kind of one of those things like, I'd rather just go back in the military if I'm going to do this. And I think that's where the conversation really needs to start for people thinking about leaving the military. If we can sit down with each other and really go over that question, why are you leaving the military? It will set up the next conversation about, okay, I can't convince you to stay, so let's make sure that you're taking every opportunity available to you. And even though VA gets a bad rap and TAP gets a bad rap, we'll never know how those programs continue to work if we don't at least try. And that's where we come in and we kind of right seat ride that transition process for veterans as they get out to make sure that they're utilizing the resources that are available to them. And if they don't work, then we can document that, and we can be an avenue for change to come back to the organizations to say, this is what we're getting from the veteran community. This is why your program isn't working for them, and give them tangible results versus just hearsay or complaining about something else. We can facilitate the change in those organizations, or we can, give them enough bad press that they go away or something like that. But we never know how those resources work out for us if we don't at least try them and accurately depict how they're working for us. So a big thing that we're kind of starting to do is when we get guys transitioning, ask for their transition AR. And this will be something that we start to reach out to veterans that have been separated for a while, but we want to hear how your process went. What worked for you, what did it, and you'd be surprised to hear how many people utilize the resources available for them, but from the military that got favorable results. And I think that's going to make a big difference for us, kind of knowing what people are dealing with and able to change the status quo on that side.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up some great points. Like a lot of times you hear, TRICARE is horrible. I don't get paid enough. Now, like if you're a young, E3 or E1 to E3, yeah, you really don't get paid much. If you're a 13-year E7, you make some pretty decent money. And you really don't realize it until you get out trying to find a job. And if your resume, if you don't have those qualifications, like you're gonna have a hard time finding a job. So definitely, what I would recommend to anybody who's in the military from day one, whether you're planning on staying at 4 years or 20 years, 30 years, is start planning for your exit. It's going to happen. You may think when it's going to happen, but you don't. Things happen all the time. You could get in a car accident, God forbid, and get medically boarded. So start planning. If you know what you want to do in the future, you want to go into, business career field, go look up those jobs and see what requirements they have and start working towards it. You start using your tuition assistance while you're in, if you can. Start using other benefits while you're in, because once you get out, it's a different world. And especially if you went in when you're young and you don't know the adult civilian world, it's a big difference. The whole how Medicare is set up, like how insurance is set up, is completely different. So definitely, take advantage and do your research. So when you get out, you're set up for success.
Yeah, if I could go back to Private Mahoney and give him whisper a couple words of advice in his ear, it would be to establish a reoccurring fund, or how we can do allotments. I would do a 10% allotment of my paycheck from the very beginning to a savings account that's just set up for that fund, and that it increases every time you get a promotion. It's just 10%. It's a very small amount of money that over time you don't even notice that it's gone, and it's somewhere that you can't touch. But I think that would be a major piece of advice for me just joining the military, or anybody just joining, or anywhere in the military. If you don't have savings, man, start saving. Like, financial stress is the #1 ruiner of marriages and relationships, and why most people have high blood pressure and health problems and other things. So set yourself up the best way that you can with that nice recurring paycheck to have a nice cushion when you decide. And if you're thinking about getting out of the military, if you don't have 18 months to transition and it's your first enlistment, I would highly recommend that you sign on for a second enlistment to give yourself enough time to adequately make that transition step, because it takes about 18 months to accurately switch from the military to civilian life with a decent career set up financially, to a certain extent, obviously, but give yourself the time that it needs and it desires and wants to transition.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know from personal experience that setting up yourself is a big deal. So just throw this up there. David commented, a big obstacle in transition in your military experience to civilian employer. Just the terminology of your rate, MOS, make their head spin. Yeah, it's going back to that terminology. You can't use all the acronyms and military jargon in the civilian world. Unless they're a veteran, they just won't understand it. And you have to do explaining.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where the resources come in, because the world has changed. I mean, from 2001, when the September 11th happened and the beginning of the war, and I mean, I got out in 2007, and things were, obviously we had the invasion and everything, but from then to now, it is totally different. Everything is different, and the terminology, you can't trust that you understand what the corporate world wants. So utilize these resources that are in tune with that and can help you write that perfect resume. I mean, there are so many out there that are willing to do it, and it really revolves around people looking out and finding that assistance. I mean, you can almost throw a stone in any direction and find a veteran service organization that will help you out in some regard. You just have to do it. You got to be the one to lead and go for it.
Absolutely. Great advice. Very, very sound advice. So if anybody wants to look up more information on the Darby Project, where can they find that information at?
You can find us at darbyproject.org. There's information on gallantfew.org as well. And we're on social media at Facebook on Darby Project, Instagram, and those are where you can find us.
Awesome. So leaving you off, what should we look forward to from Bryce Mahoney? Excuse me. I'll tell you the backstory on why I just said that once this is over.
But Mahoney is my Korean nickname, so it's all right.
So what do we look forward from you in the future? What big plans do you have?
Well, big plans in the immediate future. So, as most Rangers know, next week is Ranger Rendezvous, which is the biannual change of command for Ranger Regiment. So, you can consider that to be the major rally of all Rangers, past, present, and future. So, if you're in the Fort Benning area from June 26th to July 1st, there's going to be a lot going on. Some key events that are going on during Ranger Rendezvous are going to be obviously all the association gatherings that happen throughout the week. Big Sky Bravery is a nonprofit that helps special operations warriors get some outside venture therapy. They're holding a concert on Wednesday night and a 5 and 10K on Saturday. So those are some events you can come out to. One thing in particular I'm pretty excited about is we are holding our first annual Ranger Veteran Leadership Awards at 1300 on Thursday after the change of command. And what this is this goes back to that team player mentality. There are so many Ranger-focused organizations out there and people working behind the scenes and working in a selfless mentality that although they don't do it for the recognition, they deserve to be recognized. And we find that this is the perfect time to recognize those people. So we're going to be recognizing 6 leaders on Thursday at 1300 at the National Infantry Museum. So I'm pretty excited about that. This is our first event, and we'll hold that every year in alignment with the Ranger Hall of Fame ceremony that happens every year, but then every other year will be the Ranger Rendezvous.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So big stuff happening for you guys. I'm really happy to know you guys, and keep up the good work. Thank you for coming on and being our guest.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Glad that I could spread the message.
Yeah, you ever want to come back on, you got big things happening, you want to announce to the world, just let us know, and you're more than welcome anytime you want to come back on.
Will do.
All right, everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check us out tomorrow. We'll have Doc Buttrey from Counter-Strike Coffee on. It's going to be an early one at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you come back, check us out. Make sure you leave any comments that you want. We'll get back to you on it, and I'll post all the links so you can find Bryce and Darby Project anytime you need to. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.